Welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about one thing, okay? Just one thing. And now that one thing is up to you, okay? But we're going to talk about one thing. And what do I mean by that? Well, as we begin any process, whether that's learning a new skill, developing a new habit, a behavior, unlearning something, generally most things that we learn at this point in our life, at this stage in our life, they become much more complex. And when we think about things, we no longer think about them as the independent elements or variables that contribute to the whole. We think about them as the whole. Okay? Now, that may or may not be true. And what I mean by that is what we believe to be true might not actually be true. So, for example, let's say we want to lose weight. And in our mind, we think, gotta lose weight, want to look like the fit guy on the cover of a magazine or fit girl on the cover of a magazine. And so we say lose weight equals cover of the magazine. What do I need to do? I need to start exercising, okay? So we have this idea in our mind that exercise equal cover of the magazine represented as weight loss. Now, this could be any combination of things, right? It could be something like you want to learn a new language and you think, okay, language equals words and repetition, but you say we go through that process, but we never interact, right? There's a lot of other things that go along with that. So when we think about the one thing, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss a quick hierarchy in terms of things and change, consistency and overwhelm. Whenever we want to change something, we can always get better, right? There's always people at the top of the game. There's always people getting started. There's always people who aren't doing anything. And we're somewhere on that spectrum as we go through this process. Now, when we get started, we always want to start with the lowest thing, like the one smallest thing that we can introduce, the one almost seemingly insignificant thing that could be a part of the whole. But we have to recognize the whole first. So when we think about, we're going to take diet and exercise, and let's say we just want to start, okay? We don't have a goal yet. We just know we don't feel good. Let's say we've seen some of our friends do something. It's the new year, and we've decided this year it's going to be different, okay? Now, when I say focus on the one thing, what most people do is they think about many things, all the things that are contributing to the whole of the outcome, meaning they got to focus on their diet, they got to focus on sleep, they got to drink more water, they got to go running, they have to do something, they got to lose weights, they got to join a gym, they have to do more. And that's not always true. Sometimes less is more. And that's what we want to talk about, especially if you want to have your results long term. Fast isn't always best, right? You can go fast or you could go forever, and we would rather you go forever because this is your life. And what we want to do is ensure that the behaviors that you're going to stack, and that's what we're going to call it, behavioral stacking. When we have our baseline, or at least the one thing, when things become overwhelming, like we've added too much, if we take off a top layer, we still have all of the other parts. Pretty cool, right? So it means we're still making progress. So let's say, for example, my hierarchy is we're starting at the very base, which is going to be exercise. I just want to show up once a week and exercise. That's it. Or I'm sorry, once a day and exercise. So what does that mean? What does once a day exercising mean to me? Well, that could be anything. It could be anything. Now, those of you watching this video might not be a part of what we do here. Okay, we have a studio and we train here every day. But if you're just getting started, maybe you don't have that. So what we want to think about is exercise. Now, if we think of exercise, let's chunk that down into movement, or chunk that up into movement, right? So we say, okay, exercise, movement, just moving. So what kind of moving do we like? And this is going to sound weird, but sometimes we think of exercise and we think of, oh, I got to lift weights, I got to get on the treadmill, I got to go for a run. And that's not true, okay? I spent 4.5 hours yesterday picking up tree branches in literally the top of a tree that fell into our backyard. We had a big storm. So that was exercise, and it was grueling, and I loved it. I grew up doing it. I love kind of manual labor. I've always enjoyed lifting heavy things and just feeling my body move. So for me, that would count as movement. Now, that might not be for you. But I want to introduce to you different ways of thinking about movement, especially if you're starting from scratch or you need ways to fill in the gaps. So the first is yes. Obviously, you can go to a gym, you can join a class, you can get a trainer, a coach, you can get on a treadmill, go for a walk around the neighborhood, do the elliptical, get on a bike. There's all the standard ones, okay? Now, what about things like cleaning the house? When you clean the house, you get steps in. What about vacuuming? Okay, what about yard work? Okay, those are something we might not think of. Dancing, might not think of that. Hiking, doing something that just gets your body moving. Okay, maybe it's stretching. Maybe you haven't been outside in a while. You just want to walk around the block. You're so busy driving, especially with the end of the pandemic and people just starting to get out. People's lives aren't back to normal yet, 100%. So maybe introducing some new things, but think of movement in terms of things that you enjoy. Okay, ways that you can move that you enjoy. And put those down, okay? And structure those, like create a schedule of what that would look like during the week. So let's say you're like, you know what? I'm going to clean my house 15 minutes a day. Cool. If you weren't doing that before and it gets you moving a little bit, do it. Yard work, same thing. Walking, same thing. Joining a class, same thing. But one thing, okay? Now let's say you start doing that and it feels good. And then you're like, I'm starting to move. I want to kick it up a notch. I want to do something else. So now it becomes, let's say we want to introduce more of a routine, or we want to add nutrition, or we want to work on our sleep, or we want to start setting a different goal, a body composition goal. If we start we have one thing set now, okay? We've been doing it long enough. We move to the next one, okay? We just move up one thing. We're stacking one thing to it. And let's say we come to the conclusion that we want to drink more water. Okay, so we say, okay, I'm going to drink 64 ounces of water a day. So you're going to drink 8 8-ounce cups. And let's say you're drinking 3 or 4 8-ounce cups. So you start, and you're still exercising, and you start drinking your water, and let's say you miss a day. And you're like, oh, God, I missed a day. This sucks, right? But you still worked out. You still exercised. You still moved. Okay, cool. You're still on the positive. So then do it again. You drink a little bit more water. Then over time, because you have your base and you're still doing that, you've stacked the water. Now let's say, I'm feeling a little bit better. Maybe I want to take a look at my diet. Maybe I don't want a hardcore plan, but maybe I just want a little bit more familiarity around my diet. How much protein should I have? Am I eating enough vegetables and fruits? So then you go to My Plate and you start looking at it, just general stuff, right? And you start making some healthier choices. And these begin to stack. Now, as you incorporate these, they're one thing at a time, just one thing, okay? It starts each one of those, finding a thing that you like, making a list of those so you can incorporate those in the ways that work best for you. Pick one thing. If you're with us, it's just get through the door. Then we work on your nutrition and mobility, right? Corrective exercise, body composition, performance. Just show up and we can work through that step by step. Now in our coaching group, we have several of these that are all mapped out in our coaching community, where if you need to work on protein or vegetables or sleep or stress or more movement, less movement, more supportive networks, environments, cooking skills, planning, preparation, it's all there and it's all broken down with action items. We're going to be opening that up soon, okay? Within the next 30 days, that's going to be opened up. So if you're interested in joining that community, which will have weekly coaching to keep you on track, send me a message directly so I have you on that list and I can then send you that information directly when we open it up. But this is for lifestyle change. Okay, this is something that you could do for the rest of your life. It's all there, all the primary ones. You're still in control. We do it coactively and proactively, meaning we decide on these things together. We set up our accountability together, but you ultimately make the decision and it's moving forward. Okay. So I hope this video helps. Pick one thing you want to focus on for at least the next week, next couple of days, or even just this next couple of moments. And let's see where that begins to take you. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you soon.